So SypherPK gave some insight on how to become a successful streamer, and honestly, a little bit of, what I don't want to say Twitter drama, but an interesting conversation came from it that I really want to bring to light today, and I want to react to a stream from Mr. JOY where he was talking to Klarque Clint about what Cypher had to say and something that potentially kind of goes against it a little bit. We're going to get into the entire situation. Before we do, though, I do want to say hello, everybody, and welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Kyle. I am your guy with too many YouTube channels. Let's get right into it. So in case you missed it, I'm going to give you the rundown right now. If you've already seen it and just want to get into the video where Jay and Klarque are talking, just skip about a minute or two. Apologies if you didn't want to hear this part, but I got to explain it right. So it all started out with Mr. JOY posting this and saying, wait, what? Has he hit his head? And it's a tweet from Oni Studios, PK giving advice on how to be a successful streamer. W or L advice. We will listen to it right now, and then we will get into the rest of the video.
I love playing Fortnite on my PS5, but I don't want to go to college. I want to be a successful gamer streamer. I could fail. My parents hate when I play games. Well, your parents are right. You could fail. If your goal, listen to me, your goal is to become a successful streamer, gamer, you have to be willing to be the best at what you're doing right now and still be willing to go to college and put your best foot forward there while building up your gaming, your YouTube, your channels. If you can't do well in school and go to college while also building up your platforms that you want to eventually transition into, you are not cut out to be a streamer and YouTuber. That is my honest advice to you.
And honestly, I thought this, excuse me right there, I thought that was fantastic advice, to be honest with you. So what happened after that was I posted what was wrong with that, okay, right? And because I didn't say anything wrong with that. I thought it was fantastic advice, but then Mr. JOY posted this, and it's a video from Cypher that I still need to admit that I have not seen, unfortunately. I do want to watch a video to see. I don't think Jay's lying or anything, don't get me wrong, but I can't say this as like 100% factual information because I don't know about it. So SypherPK, I ran away from home to become a YouTuber, which is quite ironic if you take a look at it. But then this is the video that I made yesterday. Is SypherPK actually replied to this. And it's funny, is I was taking the dog for a stroll and I came home and I was like, oh my god, SypherPK's in my replies, because all I said, well, what was wrong with that, right? Now, Cypher had this to say: I left home after I was making enough money for content to be my job for a solid 6 months. The point I'm making is if you can't be organized with your school personal life, it's unlikely you will succeed at content, which again makes a lot of sense. But what Mr. JOY said here also makes sense, to be honest with you. I feel like you're assuming my conclusion, which I guess is valid since I didn't give one and just posted your video, but here it is. This has nothing to really do about you leaving home. In fact, I just find it rather ironic that in a video where you say if you can't do well in school and college while also building up your platform at the same time, you are not cut out to be a streamer. This is said by someone who, in their own admission, skipped college to stream, or even while in class, would work on the next stream. Now, I don't know if my reply is somewhere around here. I'm not going to look for it because I didn't have anything. Yeah, I didn't have anything special to add there. I did not expect to open my phone and see a Cypher notif. So that's where I'm at. And I was joining Mr. JOY's stream and I was chatting with him because I thought it was honestly hilarious that out of all the tweets for someone at the magnitude of Cypher to see, it's just one where you're saying, has he hit his head? But to be honest, it makes sense what Cypher said. It makes sense what Jay said. Both of them make complete sense to me. So I was blessed with the Mr. JOY stream. I was watching it while I was doing some stuff in the bathroom, and he had Klarque on and they started talking about this. So I stopped watching there. I stopped watching right when it was because Klarque wanted to expand on the entire situation and they get really into it. And I love hearing what Jay has to say. I love hearing what Klarque has to say. I have a huge respect for both those guys. So I wanted to give my input. I'm going to listen to the stream along with you guys right now. I will leave links for Mr. JOY and Klarque Clint down below. Go check him out. Let's get into the reaction for today, guys.
So, I want to make sure I understand where you're coming from. Are you still against what Cypher was saying yesterday? Or
no, I was just stating the ironicness of what he was saying.
Yeah,
so
I think my apologies, everybody. I think that Jay just found it funny. Because that's where I'm at too. Like, I agree with Cypher said, but I found it funny when Jay posted that thing, right?
College, when he had enough subscribers, but that wasn't what I was mentioning about. In the video, he said something along the lines of, I said at the start of the summer when I was doing kind of well on YouTube. Also, what you got to remember, which I kind of forgot about, is that Twitch partnership back then was, I think, slightly different and a lot more higher threshold. So he may have had quite a lot of subscribers, to be fair, but not. So I think concurrent.
He had 500.
Yeah. So I mean, but that was past when he hit partner. So this was before he hit partner. So it's right. It's a bit difficult to say. It was anywhere before 0 and then 500 concurrent.
Yeah, and then that video kind of goes against it a little bit, eh?
So he could have. Anyway, he was. Right. So in the video, he went. So in the video, he posted or on the studios posted. He said, "What did he say?" He said,
He said that you can never expect to be a successful content creator if you quit school.
If you can't do both, if you can't like,
if you can't do school and YouTube or school and streaming, you can't expect to be a success.
yeah. But in that video,
Right.
before he got partner, and he asked his parents the first time, and they said no, and they forced him to go to college, which is weird wording, to be fair.
Yeah, before I watched the stream, I should have watched that video from Cypher because, like, I feel like that would give a lot of context on it. But I'm getting again, I'm just trusting Mr. JOI. I don't think he's gonna lie. Like, why would he? What's the point? You know?
He said, "Well, my parents thought I was going to college, but I was skipping college to go and stream instead," which is his prerogative. But I just found it ironic that he did. That's the point of the thing I was getting at. Not like what he said in reply to that from his standpoint. From when he was saying when he had enough subscribers, and that's fair enough.
Now, what I want to know is I don't know if Jay's going to get into this. Like I said, this is a complete authentic reaction. I haven't seen it myself. I want to know if Jay posted that. Like, I don't think that he did, but I want to know if he posted it like on hating on Cypher a little bit. I don't think he was. Again, I just thought he was just pointing out the irony in it, which, again, I found funny just as much as he did.
Like, he got 6 months of earning, but at that point, so he was kind of pointing out something else. He hasn't replied back to what I said yet, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna. He either forgot about it or he just like, I don't know. It was a weird thing to pick out. Like, again, out of all the things for somebody like SypherPK to see, he replies to that, which is a little bit strange to me.
We looked at it again. I don't know if he has, and just went, "Oh, maybe he's right." I don't know.
He typically just replies to it one time and then moves on. Like,
Yeah,
he ain't gonna.
No, he ain't gonna dive into that anymore.
Start a whole thread.
But so you're just. So you're not saying that he's necessarily wrong. You just say this kind of ironic considering.
Yeah, so it always said to the original comment, did he hit his head? And then Clen says something, so I replied to his video. So he's obviously only seeing from the probably point of the. So he's probably essentially falling for his own clickbait on the title, isn't he? Really?
I don't know. Like, is it really clickbait? Because Jay posted him and was like, "Has he hit his head?" And Cypher comes across it like, "Hey, what's this guy talking about?" "No, I haven't hit my head. This is what I meant."
So he's like, "Oh, because I left school, whatever the title of the video is probably what he thought I was insinuating." But I just was insinuating the point of what he was saying.
Yeah, I don't think there's that much to look into it.
So basically, let me make sure I understand you correctly. So what you're saying is that it's ironic that he's telling everybody that you can't be successful at streaming if you can't do streaming at school at the same time when he didn't do that, correct?
To be honest with you, it's still solid advice. Like, even if it worked out for somebody and somebody did that, that is solid advice because the vast majority of people would not succeed like that. To me, it doesn't matter if Cypher did do that. If he did do that, it doesn't matter. Like, that advice still stands strong.
Yes, no, by his own admission, to be fair. Obviously,
Right.
from the time frame, it's hard to distinguish if he had, like, I don't know. But then
However,
again,
can we hold on? But can we agree though that he actually did do that? For like, it might not have been he might not have been as consistent with his schoolwork, but we can agree that he was in college, and he was streaming.
no,
Simultaneously.
he even
right?
he said he was skipping classes. Like, he wouldn't sometimes go in, and even when he was in,
Sometimes.
when he was in class,
But then again, like, there's times in college where you know the subject that you're talking about. You're very well equipped to study. Like, my brother is one of the smartest people I've ever known in my life. This guy could go to 0 classes and get a 96 on something. So we don't exactly know Cypher's situation when it comes to that.
he was focused. He was actually planning next streams rather than doing the work by his own admission.
Right. I understand that. But the point that I'm making is I'm agreeing with you in the sense that what I'm saying is he was inconsistent with his schooling. Yes.
But he did
remember,
it. But he did. He still did it to a degree. I'm not going to deny that.
right. So that's what I'm saying, right? Like there was I'm sure let me put it to you this way, right? He didn't do bad enough to where they kicked him out. Right, he must have been doing enough work to at the very least get by. So
Well, yeah, because you only need like, what, a 60? Or is it even a 50? I don't know.
he was still a fairly decent student. Because I'll be honest, when I was in college, I had quarters that were like that, where it was just like, oh shit, I'm not doing too well in this class, but as long as I can get like a D or a C, like, I'm chilling.
That was my entire university and high school run.
Right? Because sometimes like life gets in the way. Like I remember there was my first quarter of college ever. I had to go out of town for 2 different debate tournaments, and I had to be a page in Olympia, Washington. So there were basically 3 trips I had to go on, and I missed a good chunk of the school year. So it was a bitch. But I still did it. But I like my economics class, I passed with a C.
Yeah, as long as you show up, you pass, you know what you're talking about, you can complete the paper. At the end of the day, that's all that matters. You don't have to show up.
Or sorry, a D, a 2.0. But that doesn't mean that like I wasn't doing both. It just means that one took a back seat. So my point is, Sypher, it sounds like to me when I'm listening to him tell the story, it sounds like a similar situation to where, yeah, school wasn't the main priority, but remember, he still stuck with it, and 2, remember this as well, he did ask his parents if he applied himself and proved that he could make money with it, if he could drop out. They agreed to it, but that didn't happen until after the summer. So he probably had to finish whatever was left of that last semester, right? Then he went on summer break, and then at the end of summer break, he was he had gotten his 500 subs.
The problem is, like, there's so much about Sypher's personal life that we just don't know about. We don't know his school situation. We don't know if he actually ran away. Like, for all we know, that title could be complete clickbait. That story could be completely made up, right? Because I wouldn't put it past YouTubers to do that. I'm not saying Sypher's a bad guy and, like, making stuff up. I'm just saying, like, anything can happen.
So, I guess the point I'm getting at is he still had to maintain his schoolwork while being a streamer.
But that's not difficult.
Been as consistent. He might not have given his entire devotion to it.
I shouldn't say that. It depends what you're doing.
But it does sound like he was still having to put in some work as a college student and as a content creator.
Yeah, I understand that, but I would say that just the statement what he said, it's too vague anyway. Like, he doesn't know his situation. Yes. Like, he knows his own situation. I don't know. He could be just starting out, so that would be a stupid idea.
Right. But here's the other thing too, right? And this is like where I'm not saying you did this, but I saw where like a lot of people were taking issue with it, and they're calling him a hypocrite. Like, I don't think that that's a fair statement, just because, like, what is Sypher supposed to say? Like, hey kids, you know what you should do? You should drop out of college and go full blast on being a content creator if it's your dream. That way you can be a streamer like me, encourage JD.
He doesn't even have to avoid saying that stuff. Like, no matter what the path Sypher took is, that advice is solid. It's solid. It makes sense. That applies to the average person. He doesn't necessarily have to follow it. I understand, like, it can come off as a little bit hypocritical, but at the same time, like, at the end of the day, it's good advice. It doesn't matter.
No, I don't think he should do that. I'm just saying, I don't. He probably should pass comment on it completely, because it's just too vague.
Hang on, could you just imagine? Hey kids, you should drop out of school and join my personal YouTube course. I'm gonna get you rich in 30 days.
Like, I was thinking about it more. I was like, if you remove the streaming from it and then replace it with another commitment, another work, like start your own business, do this, the same doubts and thing would come, and the same risk. Like, you could essentially make more money doing streaming than starting your own business and fall on your face. Or do you go to college? To be fair, the American system is different with college and university. Like,
I don't know. You can stream and waste all your time not making any money, and you can fall on your face too.
And it is to the UK. So, like, if it was a choice between college and starting your own business, I would probably always argue to, like, maybe you should at least attempt to start your own business. But so I did say that to someone. I was talking about it on stream yesterday that maybe it's a different system out there. I think your college system is like 75% of people who go to college are in work. So it's, it's quite a large guarantee, which I don't think that's too similar in the UK.
I don't know what it's like over here specifically, like talking about the West, but I know the numbers are definitely going down, but that's mostly because people are starting to dive in, or like not just starting, like it's been over the past few years, maybe 5 years, people are going into absolutely useless degrees. I'm not going to go into what those are specifically in case there are viewers in those, but it's not difficult to tell.
Well, are you talking about like the average, like the average employment rate for someone who graduates from college? People get in, like, people, I'll put it this way. I don't know the exact stats on it. I know that people who do go to college, obviously you have a higher likelihood of getting a job. However, the vast majority of people that go to college, they don't end up using their degrees in any meaningful way when it comes to
Yep.
their job.
There is that as well.
That's entirely accurate. I can't even tell you guys. And my job, I work in a hospital. The amount of housekeepers, the amount of people just doing jobs that don't require a degree. I'm not saying that isn't like to crap on any sort of position. I'm just saying like the type of jobs that anybody could get, things like housekeepers. You would not believe how many of them have their teaching degrees, have all these different things. Like even in saying that teaching degree is something that is very useful, right? So it's that's been a huge problem. I can't speak to anywhere else in the world. I can only speak over to the West, but that is a huge problem with people after school right now.
Yeah, so it's like, yeah, you might be going to, but it, like, for example, I have a friend, he got a psychology degree, got a bachelor's, and he's a real estate agent. Like he sells or not a real estate agent, he's an insurance agent.
It's really sad. Like, I don't mean to laugh at it. It's sad, but like that's the reality of the situation right now.
Insurance, and I think there's some like minor financial advice. He has nothing to do with the psychology degree. So like,
I mean, to be fair, selling insurance kind of psychological.
Right, like you're like of course, sales is psychological, sure, but the point is like psychology with a psychology degree, you would be opening up potentially like your own practice, having patients, having people, or not patients, clients that you would talk to, giving them, providing mental health or mental help. That's not what a psychology degree is. Not for getting a job in the insurance industry. You don't need that. You can do that with a 2-year associate's degree. You don't need a bachelor's in psychology to get that, right? So, not say that there aren't some things that are applicable that would be helpful, of course. So if you understand the human mind, absolutely, but that's not what it's for.
No, of course not.
But going back to Cypher, the point is this, right? I think the advice that he gave was sound. Because the other point that I would argue is that, like,
again, I would say that, but I was just like,
yeah.
So he was just pointing it out. That's kind of what I was wondering, and I don't know. Like, I haven't asked Jay about it personally. I should have, honestly. I was chatting in his stream earlier. I should have asked him that because I didn't know. But yeah, so we're all in agreement here that was solid advice, regardless.
I was just noting that he said that he didn't have to be that specific, but he was. I just like.
When you say specific, what do you mean? Like specific with what?
You've got to be able to balance like college and thingy.
Yeah, I think he could have been that. Like, I don't see a problem with him being that specific.
The reason why he was that specific was because there was someone that was talking about dropping out of school to be a content creator. That was the point.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was in response to somebody in his chat or somebody that sent him a super chat.
Yeah, he was answering somebody's question.
And it's let me put it this way. Cypher knows that his audience is vast majority children or young or high school kids, right? That look up to him, and he gets one super chat from a high school kid that wants to be like Cypher and do what he does. He's like, I wanted to drop out of school to be more like you and be a content creator because it's my dream. What do you think? And Cypher's saying, no, you need to do both. You need to.
It's the safe answer, but at the same time, in my opinion, it's the correct answer.
Go to school. You need to be disciplined, and if you want to do content, you do content on top of that. You can't. It's not just pick one or the other type situation.
No, I get that, but I was just pointing out the irony.
Yeah, it seems like it's pretty simple.
No, I was just.
I suppose so, but even in Cypher's video, he was like, "Listen, don't do what I did." Cypher. The thing is, Cypher admits that. Like, let me put it this way.
What he did was very risky, and most people who do it would not succeed.
If a recovering alcoholic tells you not to drink alcohol, not to get addicted to alcohol, is that? I mean, I guess there's an irony there in a way.
Oh, okay.
But I think that's.
I was like, where's he going with that?
The way I look at it, it's more of good advice from someone who's been there. Does that make sense?
I mean, yeah, I get it, but then some would argue that you should be allowed to have a drink and
right. But that's not what we're talking about.
No,
here.
I get what you're saying.
If a recovering alcoholic,
the ironies now, I guess.
Don't dude, you're drinking too much. Don't do what I did. You're walking down the same path. This is a mistake. you wouldn't look at that and be like, well, one, you're a hypocrite, and two, it's kind of ironic that you're saying that considering you drink all the time and your life seems to be okay. You seem to be a functional alcoholic, and the person is like, dude, no.
I'm always conflicted when it comes to things like that because honestly, Clark is right, but at the same time, I am so of the opinion, this is just me, where it's like you don't listen to advice from anybody who is not doing better than you, My dad taught me that when I was young. He instilled that into my head, and I've lived it ever since, and it's been very, very helpful. For example, I just had a question about YouTube Shorts. I went to Clark, Dagwami, and JoJo for it because they are doing much, much better than me. It's tough when you get into the alcohol situation because when somebody makes a mistake, but at the end of the day, are they doing better than you? No. But then again, they have that. It doesn't really apply to the entire Cypher situation. I just find it interesting because I would look at that, and at the same time, I would think like, okay, yeah, maybe he knows the mistakes to get there, but he's also not doing better than me. So it's just weird. I went a little bit off there. I don't know why. It's a little bit not have to do with the video here.
It's not like you typically wouldn't look at it through that lens. You'd look at that as someone who's like trying to help you, they're trying to help you avoid a very serious mistake or a misstep in life.
Yeah, I guess, but that's kind of a bit different situation. Like I guess.
Not really, because I think it's a one for one analogy. Because Cypher, albeit he's a content creator that did skip college and was able to make it. The other thing people have to understand is this, right? Cypher got big in a time where there weren't as many streamers. The market wasn't saturated yet, and Fortnite was on the rise. It was an unprecedented time in gaming. To come up now, that's like you have to take that into consideration. To come up and do what he did now is way harder. Jay, you know this from personal experience. I know this, and I'm sure Cypher knows this. It'd be impossible for him not to know this, right? To make it now doing what he did, it's way harder. Because there's so many more people trying to do it. There's so much more competition. The market's saturated, and there hasn't been a new game that swept the internet and unified the planet online in over 2 years. Like, it's not the same set of circumstances. It's not the same. Like, in Cypher's day, like, it made a bit more sense to give it a shot. Now it's it's a way bigger risk than it used.
I think it was a big risk regardless. Like, I don't think it's like, whoa, trying to, like, I don't think it's like that much of a bigger risk to do today. But you could argue that there's a lot more tools to succeed that you can find. There's a lot more third-party platforms. AI is helping you now. I wouldn't be so quick to say that actually it's way more difficult. The market's saturated, that's for sure, but there's also more exposure. I don't know. Comment down below because I'm a little bit conflicted on that.
Used to be. But
obviously there's risks of everything. That's what honestly I stopped replying to people because it's like you can think of so many different scenarios. Like I know there's a few people who talk about like I was earning $4,000 a month in my job, earning a couple grand streaming, well not a couple grand, but it wouldn't have covered his things. And he was you get to that point where it doesn't matter how much you look at it. It's like, could I make that up if I quit, did this, did that, which is his own personal decisions. So
that's
it's like
a different situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Though.
But I was saying that's what I said to someone. I said, unfortunately, what Cypher said, it's a bit. It's not completely vague. It's helpful, but it's not really there. It's a bit like you don't really know his situation. Like you might be telling him the wrong thing. By to be fair, looking.
No, I disagree with that. He was telling him the correct thing. I think that's the proper thing you should tell somebody, regardless of their situation.
It's talking about PS5. Like, maybe I know some big PS5 streamers, but yeah, he could. Whatever I'm trying to say, kind of lost
Once
my thought.
again, I think you have to understand the context and really where Cypher's at. Right, he can't go and tell someone, hey. Yeah, don't go to college. Don't get an education. Although, once again,
that's what I mean. I'm not telling him to say that. I'm just like, what he's saying is vague to his situation. He doesn't really know his situation.
Well, yeah. Well, listen. Well, he's going off of the information that was being given. Right?
Of course.
Yeah, because what if he tells this kid, "Hey, yeah, drop out, pursue your dreams," and it just falls flat on his face? His kid's life is completely ruined, right? He can't do that.
So I mean, like, if some like look. if all I'm being given is just off of a super chat of some, I know it's some kid that says that they're going off to college, but they want to drop out of school because they want to be a content creator. There's a couple, to be fair, there's a couple of red flags with that situation. And because of Sypher's name and his following, he doesn't want to put, you gotta understand, he doesn't want to put himself in a position where he gets clipped and taken out of context on the internet, and now he ends up on Dextero the next day with a tweet saying SypherPK encourages children to drop out of school to become a streamer. Like you have to,
and that's exactly what would happen too. Exactly, especially for someone that's as big as Sypher. Exactly.
At his level, you have to be very careful with what you say. And I understand what you're saying. Like it's vague advice, but I would argue it's not so much vague. I think it applies to the person that he was talking to. Generally speaking, if you're a young child or you're a young adult who's thinking about being a professional full-time content creator, it's not a good idea for you to drop out of school to do content full-time, because and look, I think if I was in Cyber's position, I would have gone into a bit more detail.
Exactly. That's what I'm arguing. I'm saying it's vague.
Like I would have said, like, there's certain skills that you need that you'll learn in school that will be applicable to content creation. Not to mention,
No, I don't think that. Like, it depends what you're going into college for or university. It depends what you're going to school for, because as I can tell you, there's a lot of useless things. But even then, I don't know if there's some good ones that you could go into. You could be well equipped to get a certain job, but it may not necessarily apply to making content.
in the discipline, if you can create the discipline needed to do both, you'll be a successful content creator.
Discipline's what matters more than anything. Discipline, absolutely. You can 110% juggle school and content. If you're really that passionate about it, look, and to use myself as an example, I have a day job. I have a lot going on in my life. I still make time for YouTube every day. I sacrifice my sleep for it. That's not necessarily a good thing, but
because the content creation is hard. But once again, Sypher's he's not the best orator. Like I'm not looking to Sypher to really provide super inspirational.
What I also pointed out is Sypher asked his parents first, can he have a gap year between high school and college? And that would be a whole different scenario. Like, would you bring that up? But it's like, just don't think about streaming, mate. Like,
I actually like that. I really do like that. Actually, how it started, because I know I've mentioned this on the channel before, but I'm a university dropout. It started out as me taking a year break and working full time, getting a lot of money, because I was teeter-tottering on what exactly I wanted to do. Plus, it was a couple other personal things that it just made sense for me to take a year off. And then, long story short, I made the decision not to. So I've known a lot of people too around me personally. I don't know how common it is, to be honest with you. I don't imagine it's too common, but people who take years off or wait a year after high school to go into post-secondary to kind of figure things out, work, make some money, test the waters in some other areas. What if they want to enter a trade? I think that's a very good idea. If you want to take a year off, if you're a kid, you want to take a year off, I think that's a fantastic idea, as long as you have parents to support you, of course, and you make a deal with them. Hey, if this doesn't work out in a year, if I'm not making this much money, I'll go get a job, kick me out of the house, do what you want, but allow me this year. I think that's very fair.
Like, would that be like PC for him to say, talk to your parents about this would probably be the best solution. Although Sypher's got a kind of backwards mentality, because even 10 years on from the video, he kind of used language like his parents didn't listen to him, and they forced him to go back, which I guess it makes for the video, but I'm like, 10 years on, it's like, well, your parents did listen to you and they just told you something you didn't want to hear.
He could just be exaggerating that for the video. That's my guess.
Plus, which might be a bit harsh on my point, but then I don't know.
When I heard Sypher say that his parents didn't listen, this is how I took it. I saw it at, look, first of all, Sypher's family, like the culture that they come from, it's very matter of fact and very direct. For him to do something like streaming, especially during that time, and it's video games,
of course.
Like, there's no way. Like, Sypher is one of the forerunners of like showing people, hey, you can actually make money off this stuff, and a lot of money, right? Mm-hmm. There really weren't a lot of examples of other people doing what he did at that time. it was kind of a new, they created a new industry in many ways. But that aside, his parents, like, they probably weren't listening to him and what he had to say in the context that, like, yes, did they hear him and be like, okay, you're making this much money, but we think that here's the deal. His parents, I guarantee you they were coming from the standpoint of how permanent is this? How sustainable is this? 5-10 years from now, are you still going to be able to do this?
And that's any parent, and I think that's completely acceptable answers, or questions to have for somebody who wants to go into this, especially your kids, somebody you care about, somebody you love, somebody you want to succeed.
Probably not, but a college degree, that'll stick with you. You'll have an education. You can always go out and get a job, and later on you want to start.
But the problem is that applies to Sypher's situation. Back then, nowadays, at least in the West, or at the very least up north, it's not so much like that. There are so many things you can go into that are completely 100% useless now. And there's a lot of things that people go into. I'm not saying nearly all degrees are useless. I'm not saying that, okay? I don't want anybody to get the wrong idea of what I'm saying. It's fantastic if you dedicate yourself and get a great degree, but so many people have degrees and it means absolutely nothing because they either got a useless degree or can't get a job. The reason why I dropped out is because I was going to school for teaching. I wanted to be a teacher. I'm not willing to move away. I don't know French. It's oversaturated. I'm not going to get a job. I personally know about 10,000 people who have teaching degrees and can't get a job. So nowadays, it's different. If you were to go to college or university, depends what you're going into because you might not, it might still be useless.
Your own business, you can do that. But you need that foundation. Sypher, right, Sypher is, in that sense, his parents aren't listening to what he has to say. Because quite frankly, they don't give a shit. They want their kid to have the most options possible. And I think that, I don't think it's an inaccurate statement, but once again, I see where you're coming from because Sypher doesn't, like, here I'll put it this way. I'm reading between the lines and filling in the gaps, right? Sypher in his video should be saying these things.
Yeah, he didn't. He didn't at the end. I thought, like, I've made sure to go to the end of the video to see if he didn't, like. He sort of ended on some sort of level of, like, you can better yourself. Try not listen to hate sort of thing. Which I get his standpoint, but that's the direction he took at the end of the video.
Yeah.
I gotta check out that video.
Oh no, as I said, you probably should listen to his advice about getting a girlfriend. And that's one thing I think. That's one thing.
That bro.
Hang on. Did I hear that right? Did he say not get one?
I don't know, Jay.
Oh no, as I said, you probably should listen to his advice about getting a girlfriend. And that's one thing I think. That's one thing.
I don't know what he said there.
Bro, how he got his wife is wild.
Crazy.
I could be remembering this wrong. I think somebody might have told me where he met her over Twitch. I don't know the specifics of it, so I can't comment.
Good God bless him. They're like that. He was blessed, bro. God handed her to him on a silver platter.
There you go.
There is no.
Huh?
There's a Twitch moderator. Go and meet her. Go and fly over halfway across the country.
I told her I said I love you to her after 3 months of talking to her and never meeting her in person. Homie, no. Then you meet her for the first time like a month or so after that, and then
I love you before you even meet. Oh, this world, man. This world. I mean, it worked out. He's married, but I gotta look up that. Is that in the same video? I gotta react to that, dude.
And then a few months after that, you propose? No, absolutely. That could have been the biggest mistake.
I think he said the same
thing
about his parents. Said the same thing now. I'm like, I'm not surprised.
Oh my God.
They're like, they didn't really like Daniela because of cultural differences. It's like, no shit. This skank is moving in with my son after knowing him for barely a year. And he just dropped out of college and is doing this streaming.
Hang on, Clark, you want to listen to what you just said and then I don't know if you've said that in the past, dude, but I know you've mentioned that Sypher just doesn't like you that much. Oh, I don't know what they're talking about, man. If anybody knows, is there a video where Sypher has that? Because I would love to react to that as well.
Shit, my son's about to ruin his life. We're immigrants from a foreign country. And we came to America to start a better life for our family, and this is what our kid decides to do with it.
Like when you start looking at it from that point of view, you can start to see from her point of view that she might have been halfway. Like it's like it worked out. Like
Really?
Yeah, because I know he's been married for like he's been in a relationship for a long time, right? I'm not too caught up on Cypher's life, but did he? I feel like I'm remembering that correctly, where he met her over Twitch. Was she like someone in his chat? I don't know, but that's wild to say I love you like after not even meeting her. Ooh, boy, I can't believe that worked out.
Like for bro, because here's the other thing that could have happened too, right?
I would take that to my grave.
This on the stream. You remember the Peter? Like I'll try to make an example of it. You remember the Peter Griffin candy joke on Family Guy?
The Peter Griffin candy joke?
Well, yeah, like have you like the? Oh wait, how do I explain it? Like. A kid, a van stops past and said, "Oh, you got free candy," and Peter goes, "No, I don't talk to strangers." And then, another kid goes, "Yeah," and then in the newspaper he reads 2 days later or something like, "Kid gets year supply worth of candy," and goes, "Can't that be you?" So next time Peter goes, "Yeah," and obviously that didn't work out very well. But you wouldn't follow what. It wouldn't work for you.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, dude. But like, if you're trying to meet someone over Twitch, it doesn't work, and history dictates that. That's like the one time it's ever worked ever.
Yeah, it's just like I remember when I reacted to that video on stream. I told my channel, I'm like, guys, Cypher is showing you everything. Like you can't, bro. He even after the fact, right? Like him meeting her and getting a them moving in together was a mistake. Like all the drama and the nonsense that comes with that. Like it's just like
I need to catch up on this.
I don't know. Like even after the fact, like let's say they've been together a couple of years, the fact that they still worked out, right? That she didn't take advantage of his success some kind of way. Like she basically in essence wasn't a gold digger. No. And she didn't like he's very fortunate because that she wasn't like fickle 100%. Or shallow.
Yeah, I hear good things about her. Honestly, I really, really do. I just don't know how they met.
Because a lot of chicks will be like, "Oh, you're not spending enough time with me. You work too much." She was in full support of everything that he did. That's really hard to come by.
And like every hurdle, bang, 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 like correct. When he started,
did he say crit? Running into the hurdles, there's a crit. That's hilarious.
Streaming hard in Fortnite, spending 12 hours a day streaming, and she was like, yeah, and just like.
And you know what else?
My girl supports me every second of the way. I love her to death.
It's crazy. That was Daniela was his first girlfriend.
Like literally, it was one and done. One and done, mate.
Me too.
I don't think Cypher understands. Really, in many ways, how blessed. Like he's a 1 and 1 and 1 type situation. Like,
yeah.
For all those things to line up perfectly, how they did is odd. That is
just
like
if I must have sold his soul at some point.
if I ever have a podcast with Cypher and have the chance to interview him, I'm gonna ask him straight up, like, bro, do you know how incredibly blessed you are, like how lucky you get?
I'm sure he said that in the video, but I don't think he understands. I don't think he gets it. Like he must. He seems to like. Maybe I need to watch it again, but I almost feel like he's suggesting that's no.
Jay, if you're watching this, I would love to react to that video with you. I would love that. I would be honored if you would do that because I love talking about this stuff.
You know what I mean? That's the sort of.
I don't think he. Here's the deal. You got to think about it like this, right? Cypher's 26, almost 27. Like we're both older than he is, right?
Yeah.
Cypher, I don't think. I know Cypher doesn't have as much dating experience as I do, right? Talking to I in my life, I've talked to a lot of chicks. Didn't work. None of them worked out, right? But like each one taught me something. Cypher, he has the experience of a marriage, which cool. That's like for most people, that's the end goal. That's awesome. He got there, but like, there's a lot of things when it comes to game and having conversation.
But then again, I feel like you kind of figure that out as you go through a relationship, because I don't know. That's a touchy subject.
And talking and attraction and all, like he doesn't know that stuff. He had never had to learn it. Like, yeah, sure, there's some things that just, once again, naturally happen because he and Daniela had natural chemistry, which is awesome. But in terms of, like, understanding, like, the fun, like, just certain things about growing up as a young man in today's culture and trying to talk to women. And
Yeah, he would have missed all of that. It just
Well, how old is Cypher, right? I'm actually going to look that up at the moment because that is a lot different from the girls of today. SypherPK. When did he meet this girl? How old is he? SypherPK age. Excuse me for a second, guys. I should have paused the video while I was doing it. So he's only 27. So, yeah, it depends when they met because times are changing real fast when it comes to meeting girls and dating nowadays.
Because remember, he said in high school he didn't really think about girls or talk to girls. He didn't have time for it.
What? What? Come on.
he didn't have time. It was RuneScape or whatever it was. He did play RuneScape, but it was something else.
Cypher was your stereo. And here's the thing. That's the way it is with most of the big content creators, right? Cypher was just like a lot of these guys are gamer nerds that are not necessarily antisocial, but like kind of socially awkward, and they just their life is video games. And
I don't know, man. I think anybody, and like, don't get me wrong, I have a ton of respect for Cypher. I'm not saying that he did this because I don't know his personal situation, but any guy that says they're focusing on something else or they're too busy for girls, they're just the guys coping that they can't get girls, especially as a young man.
They don't go out and do shit.
They literally got a social circle because of their success.
Yes.
I'm not saying that people is funding off their success, but they literally got a social group because of it.
Look at Ninja. Look at Ninja and his wife. Do you know how Ninja met his wife?
No.
I feel like I can't remember it, but the moment you say the first thing, I'll be like, yeah, I just can't recall it.
She interviewed him. She worked for I forget what the.
Oh, so Ninja, I hear you're making millions playing Fortnite. I hear you're a pro Halo player making a lot of money there, Ninja.
I forget what the company was, but like, oh god, it's like one of it's like the big video game news network that used to.
I want to say
GQ,
GQ, but it's not. It's not GQ.
Yeah, G2 or something like that. But yeah, she worked for one of the big gamer companies that was like into gamer news, and I think he asked her out after she interviewed him, and Ninja got lucky too.
Yeah,
I don't know, anybody in Ninja's success, that dude could pull anybody he wants. I don't know if that one's lucky, but I mean lucky in the sense that if he got a good girl. But then again, I don't know anything about his wife,
times
right?
Out of 10. that's the no.
Look at. I'll put it this way. Look at clicks and what the shit that clicks go. But see, here's the problem. Clicks is stupid. With all due respect, Clicks doesn't know how to pick good women. He's just like.
It's the problem with young men today. One of the biggest issues of society right now is guys not picking good girls.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I could have a whole podcast about this stuff. I think the only content creators that are like real down to earth, like real people that like actually had to go through a lot of this stuff would be like Tim the Tatman or Nick Merckx. I think they're well rounded when it comes to that kind of stuff.
I can't speak for Nick Merckx, but I definitely agree with that about Tim the Tatman. I love that man. He's a very very respectable guy.
Get it?
I'm not sure about Nick, but I'm pretty sure Tim is childhood love as well. I'm pretty sure they met like when they were in school.
It's the best way to go about it, man.
Tim met his wife when I think that he had just started streaming, if I remember correctly, but I could be wrong. Nick, I'm not sure though, if I'm being honest. I'm not sure how Nick Merckx met his wife.
Maybe.
But yeah, man, it's weird because it's like if you haven't found somebody by the time you get big, I guess you just kind of meet them in the industry.
Yeah, no, dude. If I didn't find anybody until I was big, I would look for somebody who had not a clue what streaming was. Not a clue. It'd be like, I'd go to my sister and be like, hey, introduce me to someone who doesn't know the potential of streamers. Oh, I like, that's the only way to do it.
So, I don't know. But I feel like for this profession, it's easier. Like if you're gonna get into a relationship with somebody, like let me put it this way: if I'm out and about, right, and let's say I'm Klarque Clint, the guy, the Fortnite guy, right? I made it.
The guy who made Klarque cakes.
And I'm out and about, and I meet a chick.
Redheads everywhere.
Oh my god! Chicks that look like Dr. Sloan pulling up to me left and right. No, like there's a good chance that
oh man,
they're probably not going to know who I am. You know what I mean? I could have millions of subs on YouTube. They're probably not gonna know who I. If they have a little brother, the little brother might know. But like, they're not gonna know who I am. They're not gonna know.
I don't know. It's different for somebody the status at Ninja.
Oh,
No, you're not going to meet one. Oh my god, I love your content. I play Fortnite. I play League of Legends.
well, look, that it's possible, right? Like it's totally possible. You know, like I'm actually surprised. I'll look at my comment section sometimes, right? There are. I've had a couple of baddies actually comment on a couple of my videos. I'm like, oh shit, I got a couple. You know,
Run! Run!
female viewers that actually watch my stuff. That's kind of dope. But, you know, that's not the norm. That's not the main demographic.
To be honest with you, I was quite shocked about the gender of my audience when I take a look at it, because there's more girls viewing this type of content than you think there are. They just, I guess, don't really voice their opinions all that much. They're not too involved, because the second, honestly, to be fair to them, the second they say, then again, do they really need to say, like, hey, I'm a girl commenting? They don't.
You know what I mean? And also
British YouTubers from England who are redhead. That's
I'm moving, Jay. I'm coming over.
The only baddie that comments on my content is you. Great stuff, man.
All right, Jay, stop flirting with me. God damn it.
God damn.
It kind of ended abruptly there because Jay started talking about his V-Bucks. But honestly, I was watching that stream earlier. I was watching the stream a little bit later too. You guys got to go check it out. Again, link will be in the description and pinned comment down below. The topic of conversation shifted a little bit, which is interesting. I like talking about that stuff personally. I find it fascinating with the way the world's headed, man. But honestly, it was just a little bit of a funny situation, in my opinion, that kind of spiraled out of nowhere. It didn't even really spiral. It's just interesting that Sypher chimed in for this one thing. I still think, like, at the end of the day, it's hilarious to me. Absolutely hilarious. Out of all the tweets he can send Sypher, that's the one that he sees. So now, if he ever remembered the name Mr. JOI, he's gonna be like, oh, that's the guy that doesn't like me. So guys, thank you so much for watching the video. Be sure to check out both Jay and Clark down below in the pinned comment description down below, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Check out one of the videos on screen right now if you are also interested in that, but I suggest you go check out the other channels. Thanks for coming, guys. Take care.